Within the last few years, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported a nationwide surge in Cuban refugees. In a 2-year period, the number surpassed the nearly 300,000 recorded during the Freedom Flights. The U.S. Department of State has described Cuba as an authoritarian state with reports of censorship, violence, and retaliation against those who speak against the government. Sara Diaz escaped her communist home country when she was 21. She now lives in northern New York. But she crossed 9 borders illegally to get here and was detained in foreign countries, sometimes for weeks. Once she made it to the U.S., Sara got an expedited path to citizenship under the wet foot, dry foot policy. Now a registered nurse in the Adirondacks, Sara says the sacrifices she made to get here were painful, but worth it for a chance to serve her purpose and help others.
Once I moved up here to the North Country, it was very lonely. I was very much unaware of any resources, and I was on my own. And I had to do a lot of it by myself. The community of immigrants is so small, and everyone is so scared. That's one of the reasons I'm always trying to help, especially up here, help all the immigrants that I can find.
Today, Sara has helped several people file their paperwork to become U.S. citizens, including her own family. Back in February, she helped 3 of them get their green cards. She says she's incredibly grateful to this country and for the freedom to live a full life. The Vermont Asylum Assistance Project is a new organization providing asylum seekers with the legal help and guidance on entering the country. This morning, their executive director, Jill Martin Diaz, and Isaiah Gonzalez sit down with us to share their mission for helping. Jill Martin is the executive director of the Vermont Asylum Assistance Project. She is joined this morning by Isaiah Gonzalez. Thank you both for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
For our viewers, share with us what the Vermont Asylum Assistance Project does.
So the Vermont Asylum Assistance Project is a nonprofit based organization here in Vermont that aims to create a universal representation system for immigrants, especially asylum seekers. We seek out legal advocates to come, as well as law students to come and essentially help folks who come to Vermont and want to find a better life here. I don't know if you want to add anything, Jill.
Yeah, we're focused on building community awareness of and access to their immigration rights under the federal system and mobilizing legal and lay advocacy volunteers to help provide the services.
Without access to this legal counsel, a number that kind of shocked me, an asylum seeker is 3 to 5 times more likely to be denied. So it's essential that someone has this type of service for themselves, right?
That's right. Having access to counsel is the difference between being able to assert your claims and being able to win them.
How many people are we talking about here in the state of Vermont that you guys are assisting?
The numbers vary. We had a self-help clinic in Burlington here at the law school, which we helped out 19 families, but our wait list can go back to at least 60 people, if not more.
And where are they coming from, Jill?
Let's see, they're coming from everywhere. Recent arrivals have come from Haiti, Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela, Iran, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Congo-Brazzaville, just all across all the continents across the world.
And how do you deal with folks who are challenged by the language? I mean, you're providing those services to be their conduit to what the rules are here in the United States?
It's tough, especially trying to explain the legal system to somebody who is not necessarily familiar with the formalities of the immigration process. But then also there's the barrier of folks who don't speak English. And so what we try to do is provide a lot of access to language things for folks by translating things to Spanish, which creates, in a long way, a help for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's challenging because quality language access and like legally effective language access, like for someone who speaks legal language.
They're a little different.
Right, they're different. And so being able to ensure language access is actually one of the more expensive aspects of our service model to fund. You know, under the Civil Rights Act, everyone's entitled to meaningful language access to public services and that we're a part of. And yet that's a very highly skilled service to provide. provide. And so we contract outside help, we seek volunteers who bring language skills, but it's certainly a challenge.
Someone enters the country, they seek asylum. What's the process? Like, this is a years-long process of getting approval to become a citizen, right?
So somebody essentially to seek asylum has to be physically present at the border, and so they have to claim a fear of returning to their country based on 5 statutory things of whether or not they're being persecuted for their race, their political opinion, their membership in a certain group. And so folks enter the border asking for asylum, and which essentially Border Patrol would screen them, and then they have 1 year to file their petition with the Immigration Court or with the United States Citizen Services.
And then it's a year-long process from there once they fill out that paperwork, right?
Years long.
Years long.
Yeah, so since immigration enforcement started ramping up 10, 15, 20 years ago, as the criminal and immigration systems became more entangled, the system is just, they aren't processing cases at required by law, but certainly not in a way that's super functional for folks or users of the system or service providers. So we have people who were not at the border but had entered the U.S. on some other visa, became present in the U.S. some other way, who brought themselves to the attention of government, applied for asylum, and they're called affirmative asylum seekers, and they've been waiting. I have clients on my docket for 8 years now waiting for their interview, while the attention has kind of turned myopically to focus on the U.S.-Mexico border. And for defensive asylum seekers, meaning people who are raising their fear of return in the midst of a removal proceeding, those folks are also waiting years and years since the courts are so overloaded.
You mentioned the border issues. You see the images of people trying to cross the border and enter the country. It's led to a very divided conversation about what immigration should look like in this country. Has it made your job that much more difficult in getting these folks on the right path?
Yeah, I can start that, and then I'd be curious because Isaiah brings southern border practice experience that I don't have. But it's difficult to, first of all, to stay competent in the law when you're working under such a politicized and volatile system. These political swings give rise to policy changes that make it very, very difficult to stay abreast of what is the current good law. It makes it difficult to share information with communities and have that information get shared accurately and safely. And it makes it really difficult to advise people on what their best options are when we don't have a crystal ball to predict how things will continue to change. That's the practice experience, but the other challenge is that when folks arrive in Vermont and are seeking asylum, they have viable legal claims. They are highly traumatized. The situation at the U.S.-Mexico border is such a humanitarian crisis in and of itself. The bottleneck happening in Mexico, the dangerous conditions that people find themselves stuck in while they're waiting for their CBP-1 appointment. It's people are arriving with very high trauma, and that makes it that much more difficult for them to begin the process of resettlement.
I would agree with Jill as well, especially the trauma aspect of it, of having to build that relationship with clients, for them wanting to open it up to us, to share these are the terrible things that happened to me in my home country. And most times those don't rise to the level that allow for them to seek asylum and to be granted asylum. And so that makes it so much more difficult for us to build that relationship with clients to then be able to serve them.
You held a conference recently at UVM. Several hundred people either attended in person or via Zoom or web link, whatever you want to call it. What was the big takeaway from the conference?
What was your big takeaway from the conference?
The major takeaway.
So the conference was held at Vermont Law School, and I think one of the biggest things that I took away from it was there's so many folks here in Vermont who actually want to offer help to asylum seekers, and so many networks of folks from Rutland to Brattleboro to here in Burlington of wanting to offer not only legal help but also holistic help of helping find folks with housing and work for employment and different things like that.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, it's hard to sit and look at the whole picture, the gravity of the situation our communities, our client communities are facing. And it was also really energizing to get this many creative, motivated people together in a room with all their different complementary expertise and think about how are we going to meet the moment. The federal election cycle is already giving rise to policy changes that are making it difficult for us to provide services and to meet people's needs. And I felt like, okay, now we have this community and we have this email list. So everyone was joking about my RSVP list is like the hot commodity, but we're already talking about reprising the event next year, maybe making it an annual event for education and connection. And yeah, we're just really fortifying ourselves for continued expected changes in the system.
To learn more about the project, you can check out their website and their social media pages where you can find answers to frequently asked questions.